Welcome to this edition of In-Depth Alaska. I'm John Thompson. Jeff Deeter is your 2025 champion of the Yukon Quest Alaska. The 550-mile race from Fairbanks to Tok wrapped up on Thursday afternoon, and I had the opportunity to speak with Deeter and his wife, fellow musher, KattiJo, shortly after his big win.
Hello.
Hey, KattiJo, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, phenomenal, phenomenal. I bet you guys are just like to the moon right now.
We're pretty happy, but we are also pretty tired.
Well, I was talking to the race manager. She's like, I was shocked at just how much energy Jeff had when he finished the race. I mean, the guy was in incredible spirits and, for running a 550-mile race, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you get a lot of adrenaline at the end. You know, you're just like so happy to be done. And then to win is really huge and the team looked really nice. So he definitely had a lot of things to be excited about. And then of course, a ton of stories that he wanted to share with all of his family and friends that were there and lots of well-wishers. But yeah, we just got done eating in Fast Eddie's and he's barely holding his eyes open now. So
Okay.
I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting for him to come out of the building. He just did one last bathroom break before we took off, but he probably ran into someone inside that he knows.
Totally.
And now is talking. But yeah, I was hoping. I did warn him that I told you that it would be okay to do an interview. So I was like, oh hey, it's almost 6:00. Forgot to tell you. Someone from KattiJo is going to be calling. But I think that's fine.
Okay.
I just, like I said, we're just waiting for him to rejoin us in the truck right now.
Okay, sounds good. And
Yeah.
is he going to stick around and see, was it Josie finish?
We had thought about it, but she's still, she's still probably almost 3 hours out.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're going to get home. I think it would be nice, nicer in some ways, obviously, if the race finished in Fairbanks, because then we could just have a friend or family take our dogs home.
Right.
And then Jeff could still hang out to watch people finish. But, with our dogs, it's it would be nice to get them home and really settled. They're in pretty comfortable sleeping accommodations in our dog box, but nothing is quite like your own dog house. And, we can bring them inside our house tonight too, and they can spread out indoors. So kind of looking forward to doing that.
Oh, I bet. And then how long is the drive from Tok to Fairbanks or to your place?
How long did we do it this morning, Lindsay? 4 hours? Yeah,
Oh.
So if we get home around 10, that actually sets him up for having somewhat of a normal day tomorrow.
He's right back at it tomorrow, right? It's because, we're less than 3 weeks out from Iditarod, so that's just no stopping.
Yes, our food drops are due on Monday. And so
Wow.
Jeff did a ton of prep before he left for this race. But now he's got just a little bit more to do, specifically meat cutting. We don't like to cut the meat for the dogs too early because we worry about it drying out. So he saved all of his meat cutting for now.
Oh.
But he did just rejoined us in the truck, John. I'll go ahead and pass him the phone, okay?
Right on. Thank you so much, KattiJo.
Yep, you're welcome. This is John from KattiJo.
Hey, John, how are you?
Jeff, I'm doing great, man. I want to say thank you very much for taking a few minutes. I know you're probably a little tired and you've been through it, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Happy to do it.
Well, so Jeff Deeter, champion of the Yukon Quest. How does it feel to hear your name associated with champion? Your wife said this is your first competitive win.
Yeah, I think it's the first dog race of any kind that I've won. So that, of course, feels good. I'm also was happy to be a part of the Yukon Quest. This is obviously a hometown race for us coming from Fairbanks, and this is the first Quest event of any kind that I've been involved with. So it was really fun, and it was a great experience for myself and my team, and it was just fun to run some new trail.
And I know, running some new trails. So what was it like kind of being a rookie in this race? You're obviously no stranger to long distance races. Was there anything that you were kind of worried about, concerned about, or thinking about coming into this race?
Yeah, there's definitely, the Quest is known for having a few good challenges. Rosebud Summit is a very steep climb. Eagle Summit is a pretty steep descent when it's run this direction. But there was quite a bit of talk this year about jumbo ice on the Yukon, so that kind of had me concerned. And it was sort of one of those things like, the thing that you focus on and worry about ends up not being an issue, and this was one of those. The jumbo ice was honestly pretty manageable, pretty doable, and that's really hats off to the trail breakers and the trail crew that put the route in through the jumbo ice. They really made it doable, possible for us.
And how was that? Because I heard that you were almost keeping pace with the trail breakers at one point.
Yeah.
You were flying.
Yeah, I was right with them. Midway down the Yukon. It's two guys that actually are close, that are fairly close to me in Fairbanks. I have not met them before, but a gentleman named Eric and another guy named Ralph, who've been trail breakers for the Quest for a while. They were volunteering their time and out there on machines, and they did an excellent job with marking and putting a good route. And I think there was a crew that was in front of them, about a week in front of them, that Mike Wright heads up, and he's a longtime Quest trail breaker.
Very cool. And I know you had told our Jordan Rodenberger, and your wife had mentioned this too, that this was basically your final push, your big training event for Iditarod. Are you happy with how the team worked out? I mean, obviously you won the race, but I know you had to drop 5 dogs. Was that part of the plan? How do you feel overall heading into Iditarod?
Yeah, it is always tough going to a race in which you plan to compete and they're going to run some difficult trail, because the chance of athletic injuries is always there. And so the 5 dogs that I dropped from my team just kind of suffered from some minor, physical ailments related to the rough trail. So some wrist sprains and some shoulder strains, nothing major. And those dogs are going to be ready to join the Iditarod team in a couple weeks. But I'm really happy overall with how the experience went for the team. I feel like if the 9 dogs I finished with were strong and had a really good showing out there in terms of what I was looking for a final Iditarod, like big training trip. And of course, just being able to be a part of a race while doing that was a good experience as well. So
cool. Any neat moments, any nature moments, any cool stories from out on the trail?
Well, yeah, I had a few. The classic rookie experience on Eagle Summit, where I face plant right at the top and drag down the steepest section of the entire trail on my stomach. That was pretty good. Not the way that I had anticipated running that section of trail, but a unique experience nonetheless. I lost my axe, so I had to find a replacement axe. Luckily, my mom actually had an axe in her car, so I could take a time penalty and use that as a part of my mandatory gear. But I was not able to check in at the next checkpoint in Central until I could get that axe from her, so that was entertaining.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think probably the coolest part of the race for me was running the Yukon River and getting to experience some pretty challenging trail, but also seeing some really, quintessential Quest checkpoints, visiting Trout Creek, mushing through Slavens, staying at some of the BLM cabins. I've heard about since I was a kid listening to the Quest. It was pretty neat to be able to see those areas finally.
So this is a bit of a full circle moment for you, would you say? I mean, in terms of you've had this passion your whole life, and the Quest has always been one of these races that you're very familiar with, but just never ran?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I think the Quest was one of those where, I'd hear people's stories and be like, I don't know, that sounds a little bit too tough for me. So I think the 550 was perfect. I wouldn't want to do it for 1,000 miles.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes. Anything else you want to say about the experience, about the race itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's just being a part of the event was really a lot of fun for me, and it was really great that the organization was able to put in the 550. So being able to mush from Fairbanks to Tok was a really important trail, and I'm really glad that it was able to be put in this year.
Excellent. All right. Well, Jeff, thank you very much. Let you take a nap or whatever you're doing on the way back home, but you were the man. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, big thank you to Jeff and KattiJo Deeter, and thank you for listening to In Depth Alaska. Please like and subscribe to this podcast.